And we are live. Today, we are going to give away the 50,000-ish subscriber Les Paul. Well, how's it going, everybody?
This is a real B&A.
It is January 14th, 2021. And, well, first of all, it's my parents' 44th?
You got me.
44th or 45th wedding anniversary. So that's pretty cool. That's January 14th. I guess I need to call them later. I forgot to call them. They're in California, so I get 3 extra hours to make up for that deficiency. Today was a travel day, so we are in a new place. If you want to check out the vlog tomorrow when it comes out, you will see where we are, because we included some of that content in this week's Dylan Talks Tone vlog, as well as a bunch of other kind of cool stuff and new gear and stuff that we're trying and experimenting with. So that's pretty sweet. It's been a pretty busy week. We've actually been making a bunch of pickups, and basically just concentrating on getting to the point in the week where we were going to change our scenery, because we've been in the last place we were in for the last 2 months, and I don't know that we've stayed anywhere for 2 months since we started. So Leslie's back there.
Hi.
In the dark. And she should be not muted and not typing, and it is not raining this week. So hopefully she'll be back there, and she's going to be managing you all in the chat and looking out for super chats and etc. to come along and make sure that I pay attention to it. So we don't have a massively busy week this week as far as a bunch of news and stuff. I do just say I got some news, there's a couple of things that I can't talk about yet. But I got some news in the email that is going to be amazing for video content and is going to be amazing for the channel and for all of you. And I'm very excited about it. And it wasn't my idea. I'm a part of something else. But that's all I'm going to say about it for now. And then I've also been invited to be part of another podcast. So they want us to actually contribute content to their podcast. And then in return, they're going to refer people to our channel, which is kind of cool. So I'm excited about that as well. I am on some rabbit hole this evening. This is what we've got going in the glass for anybody who wants to know. For those of you that are also wondering, in the international giveaway, I think has 4 days left or 3 days left. The giveaway for the Les Paul actually ended last night at midnight, but I was waiting to do the actual giveaway with you all this week. But we also have to do some of the other stuff that we always do every week on our live shows. For those of you that are new to the channel, we also, people that, especially the people that are Patreon members, and then the folks that are the YouTube member join button thing down there, they actually go and submit questions. You can submit a bunch of questions in the comments, the chat too, but I actually really make sure that I get to these questions every week and make sure that we don't miss them. In fact, I forgot to go check and see if any YouTube members had questions, because we've got some interesting ones in the Patreon side of things that we're going to get to in just a minute, as soon as I check this other spot, because I don't want to forget anybody. Okay, so we are good. So let's go through our Patreon questions, the ones that sent them into Patreon, and you all can help out. Actually, a couple of these questions are asking for some opinions. So therefore, get in the chat when we talk about this stuff and share what has worked for you. The very first question is, I have a €129 Indonesian Fender CD60 acoustic guitar. So €129, what is that, about $189 or so, under $200 anyway. So a very inexpensive, on the face of it, Fender acoustic guitar. He said it's a whole lot of guitar. He really likes it. He said, what sort of pickup would take me where I could record with it without a mic? If you are on Patreon or a YouTube member, you have already seen the M Audio M-Track Duo demo that is coming out to the rest of the world next Tuesday. In that demo, I used my new acoustic, my McPherson Sable, and I know they're not the same. I know it's not a $129 guitar, but it has a LR Baggs element system in it, and it's really good, and it's actually not very expensive. I had an LR Baggs element system in my Breedlove 2 before the guitar, before this guitar, and absolutely loved it. I am a major fan of the LR Baggs stuff. When I go to McPherson, because I want to go to McPherson and tour their place and, you know, meet everybody and stuff. But when I do that, I think I'm going to have them swap it out for a Lyric pickup. The Lyric pickup is the one that has a microphone and the under saddle piezo. So you can actually like mix between them. Now that's a little bit more expensive of a pickup system, but it's a lot more, we get a little bit more dimension. So the piezo style, which is like that, it looks like a metal braid. We did a video on this a while ago, how they work, but basically it picks up the vibration of the strings below the saddle. So it vibrates the saddle, and the soundboard obviously moves, and that creates a voltage in the piezo pickup. And the downside to it would be it doesn't capture the moving air inside of the acoustic. It only captures the vibrating pieces, and there is a difference to that. The moving air in an acoustic, there is something to that. So there's where a microphone comes into play. So that's kind of the balance between having a piezo system that just picks up the physical vibration, the movement of the top, as opposed to the air that's moved by the movement of the top. So the Lyric system incorporates both. So it has an internal microphone and the piezo system underneath the saddles. It costs a little bit more. Does the €129 guitar justify that? I don't know, but those would be my two things that I would suggest. The LR Baggs element system and the LR Baggs Lyric system. When the video is all done, I will leave links to all of that in the description of the video, and probably a pinned comment so that you can find that stuff easily.
And what's the Anthem? Somebody mentioned that one.
Oh, the Anthem.
Yeah. Somebody
Wait a
said you
minute.
might have it wrong. The Lyric is the mic only, and the Anthem has the piezo.
I have it backwards. The Lyric is the mic, and the Anthem is the piezo. And the Anthem is what I have in my carbon fiber guitar. Thank you for the correction on that.
That was Chris Hendricks, by the way.
Thanks, Chris. The Element is also one of those, but it is actually, I think, lower end than the other one, I think. I will verify all. Thank you, Chris, for helping me with that. And I'll verify all that and put the proper links to those couple that I would use. It's not the Element, it's the Anthem. That's the one I have in my guitar. And there's a couple different versions of it. There's a volume only, which is the one I have, and then the other one is volume and tone. I think they don't use the volume and tone in the McPherson because the sound hole's a funny shape, and so you can't fit it in there. I think that's why, but I don't know. I had the other one I had the volume and tone one in my Breedlove, and the one I have now is just volume. But it is just piezo. There is no microphone. So, next level is microphone and piezo, no matter what the brand is, whether you get it from Fishman, whether you get it from anybody. Microphone and piezo together, to me, that's the jam, and that's what I want to do. Let's see. Have you perused the new 2021 guitars that have been announced? Has anything caught your eye? The new ESP stuff looks pretty awesome. I love all of the throwback to the Metallica stuff. I think that's pretty awesome. And then the new Gretsch stuff looks pretty fancy. And what I'm fascinated with the Gretsch stuff is their import stuff is really reasonable. $500-600 and you can get a Gretsch. I mean, that's pretty cool. Now I know you probably have to compromise on pickups and some hardware stuff, maybe like a B50 instead of a B5 Bigsby, but you know, all that stuff is workable. Overall, the guitar is really nice and the workmanship is really good and it's clean and the frets are good, and you know what I mean? So I think that's really cool. I think those two things so far. We have a related question. What do you think of WinterNAMM going virtual? And will this be the way it will be done from now on? There is nothing like actually being there. The experience of being there, from my perspective, so as a player, NAMM is fun because you just get to meet people and see famous people and whatever. As a vendor, as a person who's had a booth there, like for my company, I will never do that again. Probably. That's a probably never. I don't see it in my future. Being a vendor, like participating, that's the word I was looking for. Participating as a vendor. Because I just don't, it's really expensive. I mean, you could easily spend $30,000 between everything. And that's a lot of pickups. That's a lot of pickups. So, and the other thing too is there's two reasons why I think people go to NAMM. One is to try to find endorsement deals, which we don't do that way. If somebody just asks me for an endorsement deal, 99% of the time you won't get it because that's not how we roll. We do have them, but that's not how we do it. That's the number one reason. And number two would be to get dealer business. So to have my pickups stocked in stores all over the country or all over the world, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in me and you talking in a video or in a live stream, and you order a pickup and I make it for you. Like that to me it's a completely different level. And I know that it limits our business. I know, we can only do so many in a week. We can only make so many in a week. But I like that. I like the fact that everybody that ordered from me this week, I can see them all on a page. Over time, I know who they are. I can tell, who's ordered bunches of times and who is repeat customers and who came from Patreon and who came from YouTube and who came from Instagram, and like have those personal relationships with customers. And I think for my personal, the way we run the business here, I always want to have that. I don't want to have like 30 dealers all over the United States. We had a dealer network before, and honestly, it was nothing but trouble for me. So I personally think that I won't participate in NAMM in that way anymore. Now, NAMM still needs to happen in person. I do think that as a journalist, as a media outlet, we'll say Dylan Talks Tone as a media outlet, going and finding out stuff about what's coming out and telling you about it, that is definitely on my radar, and I want to do that in the future. And I kind of miss not being able to walk around with a camera, vlog it, show demos, all that kind of stuff that I'm interested in, the stuff that you're interested in, You know, we've done it a couple of times, and it was really fun, and I would like to do that again. And I think NAMM needs to happen for that reason, because I don't like, I like discovering stuff. I don't necessarily, I like coming around a corner and seeing a booth and going like, oh, this thing is cool. Not like, oh, let me peruse all of the major manufacturers and see who has something new. And I feel like that's what we have to do right now because of COVID, and I don't really like that. CES is the same way. It's kind of going on right now. It's going on right now, and it's the same thing. It's like, okay, Samsung came out with a new phone. I don't care about that. I want to see something crazy. Like, I want to see something I've never seen before. And you don't hear about those things. They don't make the paper. They don't make the internet. You don't hear about some wacky guitar or some crazy guitar stand or some, they don't make the big NAMM news. Only the big names do. And so I like to discover stuff. And the only way you can do that is by walking around at NAMM, for the most part. I mean, and all the weird tables in the bottom floors and in the basements, those are all the fun places to be, in my opinion. I mean, you can go all the cool stuff, but like you go to the Gibson booth and, you know, then the next thing you know, like Lizzie Hale is doing a signing, and so there's like 7,000 people there, and like I don't care about that. Like I want to just see the stuff and know about it. So you know, it's a mixed bag for sure. You know, Phil says, I'm sure you've covered it and I've missed it, but I was wondering about the differences between covered and uncovered humbuckers. I have a MIM HSS Strat that I want to put one of your loaded pickguards in, and yet I love the look of open coils, but sound-wise, what is gained and lost with a cover? If the cover is a good high-quality cover, very little is lost. I need to and will do a video on this. We've done it before, but let's do it again. We'll do another one. In fact, I got to build up some loaded pickguards very soon, so we will do that. And we'll talk about it. Basically, anytime you have a flat metal surface above a coil and a magnet, eddy currents can be introduced, and it can interfere with the inductance of the magnet, of the pickup. Does it make a humongous difference? It can, depending on the nature of the pickup. Typically what happens, just like anything else, is it becomes a filter and highs go away. And there's like a presence there that kind of goes away when you have those eddy currents present. There's a way you can fix all that. If you'll notice, a lot of our pickup designs don't have regular covers on them. I mean, we put regular covers on all the pickups because people like them. But like on my original designs, a lot of times we'll use screens and stuff. For example, the 50,000-ish subscriber giveaway Les Paul has a screen over the pickup because, well, one thing is because the holes are weird on those slant sixes. But two, if you use something that has a screen like that, those eddy currents cannot exist because there's no flat surface. Toaster tops are another good example. If you have a toaster top, it doesn't have that big flat surface, so those eddy currents are less likely to exist. If they are not made out of brass and they are made out of proper nickel, less eddy currents are present because brass can encourage them more to happen. That being said, don't stress about it too much. People will swear by, I took the cover off and the guitar sounded completely different. It can in certain circumstances, but don't take it as a rule because every guitar is a little bit different. I mean, it's the percentage of the amount of inductance that's there. It's the type of cover that it is. You know, so for example, if you had a cover that, or a pickup that had, you know, let's say, I don't know, 4.8 Henrys of inductance, and you took the cover off, and then all of a sudden you had 5.3. Are you going to hear that? Maybe. It just depends on the circumstances. You could try it and experiment with it, but don't ruin a pickup over it, and don't overly modify a guitar. Like, don't ruin a guitar in the interest of this, because it's not that big of a deal. It can be, but it's not worth ruining something over. Now, when you order something from me, let me know, and I can do things to make it sound good. And we'll do a video on that, and I'll show you what that is. because that's a good topic actually. Um, which of your humbuckers is best for this situation? He's talking about a single hum, the center punch or the 8-ball. In a recent video where you demonstrated shielding, the client had you install an 8-ball in the bridge. I was wondering which you recommend. Okay, so the only difference between the 8-ball and the center punch is the center punch is all Nico 5 and the 8-ball is ceramic. It just is a little bit hotter. It gives it a little bit more bass, I think. I like the 8-ball in the bridge position. I think it is fuller and fatter sounding. Bridge humbuckers, especially when they're super low output, can get a little honky and a little mid-rangey and shrill. And so this kind of fixes that. And that's the way I like it. That's how I like it. So, those are all the questions from over there. Anything exciting happening in here? I see Ivan is here. I see Gary is here. Got some of our YouTube members here. That's cool. Everybody's been talking. I didn't know how to enter. I was subscriber number 1. I don't know how to verify that. I could probably verify that. That's very cool, JJE. Thanks for being here. No, that's pretty awesome. Let's see. Cover material has some different. Yeah, for sure. Cheap covers are typically brass, and they do have more. Here's the thing, though. They say copper has a lot. It does have a lot of eddy current. It can have a lot of eddy currents present. But copper is underneath nickel when you chrome something. So, I mean, it's honestly, it's splitting hairs in my opinion. Here's the thing about a lot of this stuff. People ask me all the time about a particular facet of design in our pickups. Yes, I do things to make them sound good, but I will never put in our content, like on our website or anything, the reason this pickup sounds good is because I did this snake oily thing and now it sounds awesome. The bottom line is you have to do all the things in a particular combination to make the pickup sound a certain way. If you like it, just buy it. I think too many people spend too much time spending time on this thing does a thing and this is what I want, so therefore I'm going to make this little modification. When in actuality, there's this other aspect way over here that's completely overpowering any little tiny nuance that you tried to, like your pots are terrible and you're worrying about, not you in particular, but I'm just saying in general, let's say a person worries about pickup cover material, and over here they've got crappy pots and their taper is all wrong. That's like gonna ruin the tone of the guitar 99% more than this little aspect about this cover. So don't get way too in the weeds on this stuff. And I know that this is Dylan Talks Tone and we go way in the weeds on this stuff, but honestly, it's where you can really lose the whole thing. If you like the way it sounds, put it in the guitar and play it. Don't worry about how it was made. Don't worry about the little goofy, nerdy thing. Just worry about how it sounds. If you like it, you like it. Is there a significant difference between wiring out of phase versus magnetic out of phase by flipping the polarity? Yes, there's a whole conversation surrounding that. And flipping the magnet, this is another thing where people get way too far in the weeds. You will not notice the difference. If you did it one way versus the other way, you won't notice the difference. That's like people that say they can tell the difference between a reverse wound, reverse polarity, 2 Strat pickups versus them that are not. And it's called, yeah, there's less noise. So therefore, it sounds different because the amount of frequencies that are there are different. It's the same kind of thing. Way too far in the weeds. Just do it and try it. You know. Oh, super chat. Doc, congrats on 50,000 subscribers. Any special tips for storing those multiple sets of pickups while I do the builds? Not really. I don't like to smack them together, obviously, but you wouldn't do that. You know that because they're all chrome and pretty and beautiful, so don't smack them together. Number one. Number two, I personally don't store... Okay, so when the magnets come to me in bulk, they're in like a block of magnets, and I leave them like that. But but the thing is, they're like north, south, north, south. They're like all arranged. I don't leave pickups sticking together in a drawer because theoretically, over time, you can actually change the polarity of a pickup. If you take a north-facing pickup and a north-facing pickup and a south-facing pickup, and then you take another pickup and put it in between there like this and run it back and forth a bunch of times, and then flip it over and then do it the other way, you can theoretically change the polarity of the pickup. It takes strong magnets to do it, but it's not something that I would encourage doing by leaving a bunch of stuff hanging out in a drawer, if that makes sense. And he mentioned 50,000 subscribers. I actually don't know how many we have.
I think folks are just assuming because of the giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
It's been ish. That's why it's called
Yeah.
50,000 ish.
Honestly, the reason is I wanted to do this. Like, I wanted to give this guitar away, and I was tired of... I don't want to say tired of waiting for 50,000 subscribers, because that's like it's going to be a huge day.
You can't put a timeline on a number, but we could put a timeline on a contest.
Exactly. And I felt like, for the viewers' sake, I didn't want to string that out any longer. Like, even the person who gave me that guitar, he's actually in the chat now, he gave me that guitar and said, give it away on your channel. And that was we were in Florida.
May?
So it had to be May. So I've had that guitar since May to give away. So not almost a year, but, a long time. And I just didn't want to... 2020
time.
Yeah, it's a long time in 2020 time. So I just didn't want to string that out any further. Everybody was like, when are you going to give it away? Well, when we hit 50,000. But, that's a thing. So
I know that Ivan had a question earlier.
Okay.
So just want to highlight that. Ivan said, thoughts on the Ray Ross bass bridge.
Okay, the Ray Ross bass bridge. Is this something that Dan just used in a project or two? It is. Yes, it is the thing. This is a very cool bridge. The argument or the conversation will come up surrounding this bridge because it's like top loader versus string through, right? So there's arguments both ways for that. This Ray Ross thing's interesting because the string just goes through the post straight up on the top of the guitar. So there's no bend in the string. It doesn't go through the body. It's all on the top of the guitar. So it's isolating what's happening. The string's a transverse wave going back and forth, and it is isolating that on the top of the guitar, which I'm just going to say it depends on how much of a tone wood freak you are, whether you like that or not. It will feel different because the guitar will vibrate in your lap differently than having a string through. Does that make the guitar sound different? Not from across the room. I think it's a very cool design because it's super adjustable. It is super clean. There's no issues with any kind of weird overtones or any kind of buzzes or anything like that. No break angle problems because it's just outside of the design of it. And it's ultimately super adjustable, which I think is really, really cool. And I did not get to play his guitar that he built with that bridge, but I did get to see it in person, and it's really cool. And it's a quality piece too. It's a real quality piece. It's like heavy and yeah, it's really cool. I know a lot of people will go way down the rabbit hole of like how much mass a part has and like those Callahan telly bridges and all that stuff that's super expensive. Well, it's thicker, and when I bang on it, it's twangier, so it must be twangier. Again, go down the rabbit hole if you want, but I'm not I don't. There's a lot more effective places to get clean vibrating string out of your guitar than spending all that money. There's a lot better ways to do it, like set up your nut properly, for example. So, did you see any other questions in there that were hanging out? I don't see any.
That was just the one I know we missed
Okay.
earlier.
Awesome. Well,
And there's some more like 2021, like, what do you think about Kramer? Have you seen the Amazon stuff?
so what I'll tell you about the NAMM stuff and all that stuff is I'm going to be looking through it. I think we're going to talk about a lot of that next week, and I'm going to actually Andy Dion, I see you, and we're going to get to you in a minute. Yes, we are going to do a NAMM show probably next Thursday. That'll probably be next Thursday's show. We're going to talk about NAMM, and I'm going to research it more and do more stuff. Andy Dion asked the question. And I am seeing glitchiness. So hopefully.
Would you like me to read it to you?
He says, do single pickup guitars sound better? There's a lot of buzz on that topic right now. Yeah, because what's his name from Atlanta just came out with a video about that, which I watched, and it was very interesting. If you follow this channel for a while, you know that how I feel about magnetic pull on strings, that I think is a load of crap, and we could get into a whole other video about that. I just did a video about it pretty recently, a couple months ago. The bottom line is it's not possible. It's not mathematically possible. It